Okay, so today we're going to be doing a project. It's facilitated because in AP English we had to do a project about American teenagers, and you guys are a very applicable audience. So I want to start by everyone just sort of thinking about how you've changed over time. I want you to think about how you were, how you acted, what you looked like in elementary school. So think about who that person was. And now think about how it's changed as you move to middle school when you're like preteen age. And then I want you to think about how that person changed emotionally, physically, mentally as you move to high school. And so sort of think about how those changes happened. And then I also want you to think about if you had a friend or a sibling of the opposite gender and how that experience might have been different for them. So what we're going to be doing today is creating a piece of art that answers a question. And the question is going to be comparing the differences between males and females and how they mature differently throughout adolescence. So I'm going to be handing out a sheet that has the overall question on it. So with your artwork, I want to create an 8 by 10 piece. You can use any medium that you like, any sort of paper that you want. We have a lot of drawing paper in the back if you want to use that. And the question bolded is the question that I want you guys to answer for your art. You can answer it in any way that you interpret it, just a way that's clear, that demonstrates an answer to this question. So it would be great if you guys can finish this by the end of the class period today, or if not, by the beginning tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to be doing a gallery walk, so you guys can see how other people answered this question. After you see this question, I'm also going to be handing out a piece of paper with some information on it of some research that we have done. So after first receiving the question that we asked you, what was your initial response?
So I kind of thought about how when little boys are growing up, they kind of have a high-pitched voice and their voice gets deeper. But then as girls grow up, they get more feminine and they start wearing makeup, and they both kind of assume their roles.
So would you say that they develop more similarly or more differently?
Differently, definitely.
And how do you plan to depict that in your artwork?
We're working on it.
Okay, so after you receive this assignment and you sort of thought about the question and analyzed the information and everything, how are you planning to exhibit your personal opinion artistically?
So I'm doing 2 eyes, and one of them is going to be really open, and then the other one is going to be a blind eye, and it shows that males and females can develop similarly because as you get older you gain more experience and become more open to things, which is more important than their differences.
Okay, so after we gave you the sheet of information that had the different facts on it, how did that influence your opinion and how did it compare to your original opinion of the question?
Oh, well, it definitely changed my opinion because at first I thought guys and girls were pretty similar and mature, but the information said otherwise.
So what aspect of the information sort of changed your mind about this?
Like I said, girls mature a lot faster than guys, and that girls actually use 2 hemispheres of their brains.
All right, so when you are doing your artwork, do you plan to take the side that they mature more similarly or more differently, and why?
Differently.
Oh, well, reception's where it's got that. That's why.
Well, I don't know if they want this side. I just want straight lines, but I want to do this.
Okay, all right. Well, what I have is...
Does this look like a crab to you?
I've got black.
Kind of.
I kind of like it. I think it's
really white.
Ew!
But I like
that's
it.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Look at his hair here. This makes sense.
Sorry, I just walked in there.
You want that house? I'll give that for all.
Thank you.
Maybe afterwards.
So, how well do you think that you're doing? It's not going to go well.
Well, the thing is, like, I forgot, like, they're also middle school age, and they take it quick. So, this is our art. So what artistic choices did you make, such as medium or color choice, that sort of helped portray your answer to the question?
Well, I used brighter colors towards the left to symbolize like when you're younger, childhood, and being just more like optimistic and just imaginative and more positive because you don't have a lot of responsibilities. And then as the picture moves to the right, I got like darker, more chaotic lines and darker colors just to represent the fact that like we kind of like lose a lot of our imagination just because we're so like I guess focused on like the responsibilities and the hardships we face, like because when you're a child you don't really have a lot of worries. And I think this kind of applies to both like boys and girls.
So you think it represents how they mature more similarly?
Yeah.
So in what ways did you, and how did you answer the question in your artwork?
Okay, so I drew a fruit. This is a tomato, and the fruit kind of represents how people go from young people to mature adults, and like fruits ripen from like little baby fruits to mature fruits. And I also did hairy legs because like we all get hairy legs.
So is this sort of taking the claim that males and females mature more similarly or differently?
I think it's focusing on the more like the similarities between the two, and the fact that like even though we all develop differently, we all develop into the end a mature fruit.
So how did you answer the original question through your artwork, and what does everything represent?
So here the purple is supposed to represent like how like boys and girls are like when they're children, and then on this side it represents how girls like mature faster, which is why there's more different colors on the side, and on this side there's more purple because boys mature slower.
So the
and girls, to
childhood
me,
is sort of like blends more into the male side of it.
into like their teenage years and stuff like that.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, so we're going to have you look at everyone else's artwork and how they sort of interpreted the question differently. And you can sort of compare and contrast how yours differs from theirs or is similar to theirs. So just kind of go around and look at everyone else's. And on the back of that sheet that I gave you that had the original question on it, there's a few following questions that if you could answer those for me and get them back to me just so I can see how you reacted to seeing other people's artwork. So just take a look at all of them and then we can finish everything up.
Shoot, I should like.
I don't know
You should just pick up people's art. Okay. Sarah. Okay, it's okay. We all did this in like 2
So
minutes.
I noticed the common trend of colors, you know?
Yeah.
People are like using colors, I feel like, to like exhibit differences between
Except
girls
for
and
Nick
boys.
Race.
Except for Nick. Why did you
Yeah.
choose not to use colors?
Charcoal is easiest.
Didn't you also take the perspective that they develop more similarly though?
Yes.
Cole, why did you choose the colors that you did?
Because at the bottom they're both pink, and then they grow apart into the blues and the pinks.
So what stance did you take?
That they develop differently.
Sarah, can you explain your fruit?
You want me to give like a really good explanation? Yeah.
You can brief us.
Alright, this fruit represents all of you. It's a fruit. It's mature. Well, it's maturing. It's not ripe yet, but it's maturing. Like humans mature. We all mature similarly, and then these legs are just like that. as we mature, we all grow like hair. Like
That is true.
it's true.
That's a valid point. So did you have the piece of information that talked about the physical similarities between girls and boys?
Yes, I did. I looked at it and I was very intrigued, and that's why I decided to put legs with leg hair, because males and females are similar. No.
Cool.
So could you explain your interpretation in your artwork for us?
Alright, well, this is a depiction of a war scene, the aftermath of a war scene, and the centerpiece of the whole project right here is this soldier right here. He's the only one left alive, and he's been mortally wounded, and he's clinging to life, basically. And I focus more on the maturity of men and boys specific, because in our day and age, it is said that boys are more aggressive with what they do and how they act, and all these violent video games, all these violent war games like Battlefield and Call of Duty, they don't help. And when boys play these games, they have this realization that, oh, war is fun. I get to pick up a gun. I get to go kill somebody. I'm going to join the army. And then something like this happens, and then they're realizing, they're looking back in their life, and they're like, what did I do wrong? How could I have made this decision?
So did you specifically that you thought that boys and girls mature more similarly or differently?
I think boys mature much differently than girls in a way, but it's all based upon how you're brought up and your parentage, and it's really up to your influences in life to shape you into the person you are until you're old enough to make your own decisions.
Okay, and then after doing the gallery walk, were you surprised by anyone else's interpretations of the assignment?
I was impressed by the artwork I saw, but I wasn't really getting most of the interpretations. Like some of them I could understand, but they seemed a bit basic to me, and I wish, there was a deeper meaning to them, and like a more abstract kind of project.
So you think people took the question a little too literally when they were answering their art?
I think they took it a little too literally, like they physically interpreted the question in their project without actually going inside and thinking outside the box, so to speak.
So what key similarities or differences did you notice between your art and other people's after doing the gallery walk?
So there are like 3 general groups of like opinions. So you had people who showed like the similarity between the teenage boys and teenage girls, and you had people who showed the differences like me, like between the 2 genders. And then there's like some people who like had the idea to use like the use of like the development throughout adolescence and basically like through the stages of life. Like they show like just the differences between like being child all the way up to like adulthood, pretty much.